Right, you know the drill by now if you've been on my channel for a while. Another massive preview reveal, another video that I want to talk about. Before anyone says anything, yes, I'm aware I sound different. My old snowball mic that has served me faithfully for years has finally started to crap out. Probably due to all the times I dropped it.
So unless I want to sound like this,
I'm going to have to make do with my inbuilt microphone with my laptop. So without further ado, let me just discuss my thoughts on the previews that I did manage to catch live thanks to just work being slow. The first reveal of Orkin the Diviner was... it was meh. Overall, the old current model of Orkin is nothing to write home about. It's a very old sculpt. It's made of resin. The only thing that's kind of really holding it to me is the paint job, and even then it's just kind of meh because I just don't paint at that level. This new model, while it definitely has its highlights, like the whole floating above the ground aspect, I don't know, they're just like small changes to it that just don't really resonate with me. Mostly in that the staff is very slightly off when you get to the lower half, but then it's also the face. The face doesn't have kind of that big, wide-eyed stare that the old model has. It kind of has like a brow, which I don't like. The mouth is also more shut instead of screaming, and strangely enough, when I was catching the stream live from Kirioth's stream, he mentioned about like a nose, and looking closer, yeah, why does he have a nose slot? That's horrible. What did they do to your face, Orkin? Moving on from that, we got a book. Who honestly cares? Well, then again, you probably should care, because if it's a certain book, you might have to repent. Yep, that's right. Asma of the Dark Angels got a brand new model, and honestly, it does look nice, especially when I kind of stop and compare it to the old model, but a few people have kind of already pointed out that he does kind of look weird wielding a sword, because you don't really stop and think about chaplains wielding other weapons than like their Crozius. Yeah, I can see like where they're coming from. I will say, however, that more the options of like hooded helm or even adding the smoke especially, I especially like that's more of an option, because I can't see like other people can see it as too much, but no, I think it looks great. Overall, it's a really nice model. I'm very happy with it. And then we get the Deathwing Knights updated, and this might be a hot take. Well, first off, they were previously leaked earlier, so everyone kind of knew they were coming, and honestly, it probably should have been clear that there was more of emphasis on Dark Angel stuff. And I gotta say, the overall scopes for these guys are good, and what is a little interesting, however, is they now can come as like sword and board, as like sword brethren, or you can still give them their maces and all that. And all I have to say is there's something missing about the new sculpts. I don't know if it's just like the maces now look very generic as just like power maces that kind of lose that old original motif. There's no longer that like power flail. The hoods, even when you give them like the hood options, don't really kind of connect to the cloak. I will say they do feel a lot chunkier for Terminators, and that's really nice. I do like that, and I especially love kind of this different style, almost Grey Knight-esque helmet they have. But for the most part, it's kind of both a swing and a hit and a swing and a miss. There are just certain elements I actually like about the old kit that I wish were kind of, well, either like still prevalent here or actually shown off to show that they kind of still are remaining. And from there, we then get our new roadmap into 40k, which basically, Dark Angels are coming up after Admech and Mechanicus, but in addition to that are the Orcs, the Custodes, the Tau, and Chaos Space Marines, all in spring. That is probably the largest I've ever seen Games Workshop push out codexes at once. The redacted part, people are already speculating, I think, are like Emperor's Children, maybe. That wouldn't be a huge surprise, but really all I kind of care about is either Death Guard or Votann, which, at this point now, who knows how far that could be off, in which case, I'm not really going to be playing 40k still. I'm still going to be taking my long break, so it's just kind of whatever. Now, before moving on, there is something I just really want to ask real quick. How many fantasy fans still, like, really hate Age of Sigmar? I don't want to get too hung up over this, but there was an Age of Sigmar video game that recently released. An article came out basically trashing it, but it was more talking about Age of Sigmar, the setting in general. And I only recently came across tweets from someone I occasionally like find their messages for Warhammer, and they're also just very heavily dunking on the setting without like really providing anything. It's just like, what the hell? It's been 8 years. You have your setting back. Just let us have our fun. Because goddamn, these new models for Flesh Eater Courts are just look at them! They're fun! We have an actual Elden Ring boss that looks dope. We got a new sculpt for ghouls with weapon options now. We have ghoul cavalry. A new Vargulf Courter. It's just everything about Age of Sigmar right now is just going great. Every time something comes from Age of Sigmar, it's awesome! And again, you have your own setting coming back. Like, I don't understand this hate still. But you know what? Just while we're on the topic, let's quickly go over the Old World stuff with all the new Tomb Kings, which basically it's a bone dragon that very much reminds me of a Magic card that I remember a couple years ago. I mean, it also heavily helps that this was announced that it was plastic, so that's also nice. And the optional kit that you can build with like a sorcerer and this like zombie cat. Like, it's very Tomb Kings, but the thing is, that's also all you got. Undoubtedly, more is going to get revealed in the future, but that's also kind of what I was worried about if this is like all we were going to get for this preview. It's just, you're kind of losing me on the grasp of just what else is coming. You couldn't even show off like other old models that were returning, like Ushabti or something. I'll just run through the last few bits of the previews because I don't actually really have that much else to talk about. Underworld's new crew boys. I mean, I like the kind of the mace option, but there's not really a whole lot going on with them to really make me say, wow, that's cool. The Horus heresy now finally have their assault marines ever since they were teased from Adepticon earlier this year. A whole whopping like 8 months ago, and all I can say is Horus Heresy is not really catching any more of my attention. It's taking way too much time to get all this stuff out now. Necromunda, surprisingly, actually got a reveal this time, and while it is focusing more on the Ashways, it's at least something. And I can already tell for a fact that my local game store owner is going to enjoy this because he plays the Palanite Enforcer. I guess this was like an old vehicle back in the day that is now kind of making a reemergence. It does look cool, I'm not going to lie, and I love the gun turret. It's decent, but it's not much else I can say about it because I don't really play these guys. Finally come to Kill Team, which I think is actually probably one of the more shocking things to me because, well, it's kind of mixed because on the one hand, it's very specific of a Chaos Space Marines chapter, the Night Lords. And I gotta say, I do like this. Night Lords always had a cool aesthetic to them that I wish was expanded upon. Or, outside of the old upgrade kit. But yeah, now you do finally have like a proper upgrade kit. Except here, which also kind of leads to my problem, it's basically just the same Chaos Space Marine kits, except now it's Chaos Space Marine kit from the other Kill Team, where it's like they just add all these extra bits for the different operators, but now it's just, once again, we kind of recycle it, just to add different squads to a chapter. And the thing is, I don't dislike this idea, because Loyalist chapters do kind of have like upgrade parts to like the Primaris already. I think it's about time that this happens to the Traitor Legions and all that, because I remember kind of discussing with a friend one time that even though like Chaos Space Marines can be built anyway, all their armor is kind of Black Legion geared, so kind of having more options towards all the other legions would help. But I don't know, I think it also kind of makes me a little concerned with Kill Team moving forward if they were just going to keep recycling like an already established kit and just adding more and more extra bits again and again. Or maybe I'm just overthinking things. I don't know. I do think it's good. I like a lot of the bits, and I do think they're fantastic. It's just kind of, I don't know. There's just something in my mind that's kind of not, I don't know. So, but yeah, those are my thoughts. Obviously, big winners for me, Age of Sigmar. I'm just a huge Age of Sigmar fan. It's current right now. It's pretty well supported by Games Workshop, and quite honestly, no matter what these schmucks are saying, I think it's actually holding up pretty well. That's not to say that I don't think the old world coming back is bad, especially as someone who has been delving into it. But I also have to say that with just like the current reveals right now, at least this time, it's kind of just waning on me. I'm not really. The Bone Dragon is cool, but I want to see more. That's the problem. You had this whole range of Bretonia and all this emphasis, and now you're just focusing on just this one brand new thing of Tomb Kings, and I want to know like what else is coming. So it's just a little disappointing. The Night Lords is, I'm going to say it's a win. That's a good one. The Horus Heresy and Underworlds are just, they're just kind of meh in my opinion. And to be honest, I think also 40k in this just particular instance is also just, it's also a little meh. There are Asma is pretty good, I will say, but there's not really a whole lot I can say about this preview. Or hell, even the last preview, the more I kind of look back on it, it's just the previews aren't really holding that same energy for me anymore. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's just like the single models that they decide to choose to show off. I don't know if it's just like I'm kind of really getting burned out on anything that isn't Age of Sigmar. I don't know. It's just it's not really holding up that much, and I'm kind of worried I'm not really even sure if like these videos right now are actually doing any much better, but I don't want to say any of this was bad, but it's kind of limiting on like what I find to be good. But yeah, those are my thoughts. If you do kind of like them, leave a comment down below on what your thoughts are. Give this video a like, maybe share it around, subscribe for more when I eventually upload, and I will see you in the next video, hopefully when I get a new mic.